You know, it's been a little while since we did a tier list, but hey, I've seen people doing Destiny 2 exotics recently, and I mean, I don't think I've done a Destiny 2 tier list yet, so let's do it. You know how it is. Looks like this list is in mostly alphabetical order. Oh, it's in alphabetical order for a little bit, and then it's not. I don't know why. It's very strange. Anyway, so we have. There are some exotics that I don't have, so I can't actually rank. Let me grab those real quick. Okay, so I don't have this one. Don't have this. Nor this. I don't have that one. This one. I feel like there's another that I don't have somewhere in here. Oh yeah, 1K. Oh, yeah, I don't have that one. There we go. I think I said. I mean, I guess if there's any others, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, okay. So I guess my clarification for tiers that I wrote down yesterday is obviously Cooks is the best. Or Cooks with an exclamation point is the best. Cooks without an exclamation point is just very good, pretty good, decent. Pretty good, self-explanatory. Decent is ones that are all around all right or have one or two very powerful specific situations. Mid, once again self-explanatory, but they're still vaguely positive. Meh, no strong feelings. Black is starting to get bad, and then why is this still in the game? Kind of self-explanatory, the worst of the worst in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, let's get started with actual ranking. Ace of Spades. Now, I'll admit, I'm not much of a hand cannon person outside of specific ones. Ace of Spades is not that specific one. However, I cannot deny that one, it is still really good in PvE. Also, yeah, it's kind of a... It's mainly... I say it's mainly PvE. However, again, I'll note PvP strong ones if available. So yeah, Ace of Spades... I mean, all things considered, it's still pretty good. Even if there are definitely better legendary versions in PvE at least, it's still really, still pretty good overall. Like, I wouldn't say it's bad if you take this. Anarchy. I'm gonna be honest, I have little experience with it, but I think we've kind of just gone past what we need out of it. Like, in certain situations it's not bad, but those situations are very, very few and far between right now, and even then it's still not bad. It's not exactly good though. So I think meh. It is. Arbalist. It's a great layman's shield breaker. Right, that's barrier specifically breaking is less necessary now that Radiant can do it, but it's not bad. It's all around alright, I would say. Bad Juju, I like the gun. I really like the gun. But boy, I can't deny that it's kind of just the water of guns, the water of pulse rifles. And I mean, I like water, but it's still very alright. Again, not inherently awful, but there are just things that are all around more useful. Oh hey, Black Talon. Really only has use in being a projectile sword in PvP, but even then there are other projectile swords and you can have to be doing something very specific. In PvE, it's pretty shit. I don't think this is a very good weapon. I think I think me seeing it being used in PvP before as a heavy gets it kept in black instead of Wiser still in the game. But yeah. Borealis. It... I mean, I guess it's kind of like this. Kind of like Black Talon. I've seen it in PvP a couple times, but almost no one's using this in PvE. Especially no one's using this in PvE, so... even me, I don't really use these outside of very specific builds. And then they're not really the focal point of the builds. They're just, oh, hey, I thought it'd be funny, haha. So yeah, Cerberus +1... I'm gonna be honest, I have not used it since it got buffed. I've heard that buff is pretty good, but it's still not the best. I think it's pretty good for mid though. Mid or meh. But I guess I don't really have any strong feelings one way or the other. Cold Heart. Man. Throwback Thursday to Destiny 1, Destiny 2 launch, where this was the GOAT for DPS, but I mean, I guess it still has some use. I guess, yeah, it's decent to mid. I think I'll stick it in mid. Oh yeah, they're not really ranked in the tiers, by the way. Crimson, that's not bad. I've seen it around in PvP decently often, mainly for controller, but it also has some neat uses. In PvE, kind of massively outclassed by, ironically, the weapon that it replaced, but, you know, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Anyway. Darcy, this is literally just a measuring stick with a scope. Nobody uses this for literally anything nowadays. Outside of measuring. And while it's good at that, sure. It does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing. Alright. Deathbringer, I mean, it's pretty strong, but the problem is it's also, very awkward to use. So I think it gets to go here. Again, not bad, but yeah. They're definitely better. Divinity. I mean, hey, Divinity is still really good. It seems like it's been less used, but it's definitely very good for, like, layman's DPS. And also targets with small crit spots, like bosses with small crit spots, so it's still got that going for it. It's not the best anymore since they did nerf its weaken effect, and there are some bosses that just don't necessarily need it, but it's still really good. It's still really good. Ariana's very bad. If Arbalest got here, and that's a much better barrier breaker than Ariana's, then, yeah, I mean, it has some use for, like, Lucky Pants Hunters, I guess. But, like, I'm not really clamoring to use this, honestly. Fighting Line, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea where to rank this. Theoretically, an unlimited ammo grenade launcher is incredibly fucking annoying, especially in PvP. But I see almost zero people using this. And in PvE, it does nothing. This is such a massively specific weapon. But even then, I still don't see people using it, so, yeah. I think it gets to go here, but it's low blech if it was raid. Graviton Lance. I may not like using the gun because I think it's boring, but I think it's boring because it's just that effective. I can't argue. It's really, really good. It is really good. But, I mean, I have preferred Void Weapons, but I can't deny the overall Graviton Lance is really good. It's either here or here. But I think as it stands, it goes here. It's probably one of the better exotic primaries in terms of, well, probably one of the best PvE exotic primaries that are just neutral. Like, that's the thing. It doesn't have any, like, subclass-specific interactions, but it's so good at just being, like, a neutral, strong, exotic pick. You know? But yeah, a hard light. Man. Element switching is neat, but not very necessary, so that just leaves a 600 RPM auto with bouncing bullets. Yeah, no, I think it's here as well. Like, it's kind of whatever. It's either here or meh. Could be why it's still in the game, though. Honestly, it's anywhere in those three, so I'm gonna average it out and put it in blech. Even if I like my auto rifles, it just doesn't really do anything, to be honest. Izanagi's Burden, I mean, it's still decent. It's still pretty decent. Kind of power crept in terms of exotic snipers for boss damage, but, you know, it can still do, like, chunk damage like a champion if needed, or what have you. And it's much easier and less like build up for champion, although for bosses you should be because yeah, the kind of like Crimson, there is a weapon we'll get to later, which is kind of better. It's just kind of better. So yeah, Yoan, man, this thing is fucking annoying. I don't like it in PvP. It doesn't really do anything in PvE. It's honestly, it's not. I wouldn't call it a good weapon, but it's a weapon that can catch people out when you hit them with it like once or twice. That doesn't necessarily make it good, but yeah, I think it goes there. As I said, it does nothing in PvE. Lemon Arc. This is going to sound strange. It does have built-in anti-champion capabilities. I think this is the first primary we've covered with the anti-champ capabilities at base. But I don't know. The problem is, to do the anti-champion stuff, the poison tick damage needs to hit, which is a lot more effort than it's worth when their weapons can just do a lot faster. I mean, I guess the poison tick didn't take that long, but it's still like, you have to hit them with the shot and then wait for the tick rather than just hitting them to overload. It's just annoying. But I mean, outside that, it's a bow. Bows are bows. And it's not really that impressive, honestly. At least to me, it's not that impressive, which is funny because I like my void weapons, but I've never really clamored to use this. I've never really clamored to use it, which says something. Legend of Acreus. By my definition of the decent tier, it kind of Legend of Acreus by default goes there because, for the most part, it doesn't really do that much. However, there are some situations where it's one of the best weapons in the game. So yeah, decent it is for that. Leviathan's Breath. Honestly, I think it's a more applicable Legend of Acreus. It's not the best thing in the game all around. It's sort of like lower ceiling, higher floors, kind of in the middle. But I think it's overall better. Plus, again, I do like void weapons slightly better. But yeah, I think it's slightly better than Legend of Acreus just because it's more general purpose. Lord of Wolves. I've not seen anyone use this in like ever, in like ages. No, since it got nerfed or modified or whatever. It's so bad. Nobody uses this anymore. It's so bad. It's shit. Simply put, it's shit. And that's that. Lumina. I would put in, yeah, I'd say Cooks. It's an exotic hand cannon. Those are pretty good. Doesn't really have many adequate capabilities, but can heal and buff the damage of your teammates and yourself, which is very strong. It's probably one of the I think it's actually one of the strongest damage boosts in the game. I think it's 35%, which is crazy. Plus, as I said, and it heals too, so it's got that going for it. So yeah, I'd say it Cooks. Malfeasance. Honestly, I would say it also cooks, but I'm biased and have a Malfeasance build that I really like. But even then, this does also have an intrinsic anti-champion capability, which isn't... It's a little annoying to stack, but it's not... I don't know. I feel more willing to do it than Lemon, because this has a higher payoff than Lemon does, in terms of just using that weapon. And again, it's very good on Lucky Pants Hunters, like insanely good. So I think it goes in Cooks. Yeah, that's another thing. I'll note, like, if there's a weapon, if there's specific builds that a weapon benefits from, I can note it, like this one, like Cold Heart here. Very good in certain Arc Warlock builds, like Fallen Sunstar. But yeah. Also, I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Alright. Merciless. I mean, it can do something for like 15 to 20 seconds. And then it's completely out of ammo and you're like, eh. So yeah, I think, as much as I feel like it has some use, I don't know. I feel like there's just things that are better than it. There are definitely things that are better than it, but it can be okay. So mid it goes. Mida. Like Bad Juju, I really like this weapon, but it's just a scout rifle. It is literally just a scout rifle. It gives you slight extra movement speed, and you get to keep your radar up while your ADS. Oh, cool. Yippee. It's a PvP weapon, and even then, I don't see many people using it in PvP. As much as I like it, it hurts me to do this, but it is not very good. Monte Carlo is decent. It's just all around decent. It's a $600 auto, the $600 PM auto, so it's okay. It's not that bad. Great for melee builds. Amazing in melee builds, for sure. And obviously you got that one high damage stab if you want it. But yeah, no, it's good. It's pretty good. Outbreak. Outbreak is amazing. It's one of the best pulse rifles in the game. It can, especially in team play, like if you have a team of multiple people using this gun is insane. It stacks up so much damage so fast. And even just general purpose use is still really good. Like, especially now they can be crafted with like catalysts and stuff. Like, yeah, no, this shit's great. I love it. Outbreak is amazing. Polaris Lance is a scout rifle. It's a scout rifle that can occasionally blow things up. It's something, alright. Prometheus Lens is... I mean, it can be decent. It's not terrible, but I mean, I'd rather use Retraced Path with Incandescent and Subsistence. Because at least then I'm not using my exotic slot. It's not bad, but it's just kind of there. Honestly, it's kind of the same with Rat King. I will say, the buff to its, well, the change to its recoil pattern actually makes it feel so much more usable. But, yeah, it's better when you have other people using it, but I think mid it goes, because, yeah. It's okay. Risk Runner is decent. It's never bad. It's never a bad option. Especially against Arc. Especially against Arc enemies, like... It kind of toes the line between decent and pretty good, but decent it is, because the problem is, it's very good, it's also like the first exotic most people get if they haven't bought other content for the game. But yeah, it's typically the first exotic people will get, and you see people using it because of that. It's not bad. Again, protection from arc damage is never bad. And it's not half bad at add fitter when you've got that proc, but outside of that, it's just kind of whatever. Yeah. It's okay. Skyburners... I mean, it can blow things up. Kind of like Polaris Lance, except there's a lot more work to get that. Actually, no, is it? You know, come think about it, these two are very similar. These two are incredibly similar, actually. Oh. Sleeper Sim, again, I'd call it pretty good. It's not standout or anything, but it's overall... It's kind of like Leviathan's Breath. It's like the linear fusion rifle version of Leviathan's Breath. It's never the best, but it's reliable. It is reliable. Sturm. It's funny. It's a 120 with a cracked stat profile, so you think more people would use it. But I, like, never see this gun. PvE or PvP. So it's like, I think by default, well, it could be good in PvP. I never see anyone use it, so it kind of just goes here. Honestly, it's kind of a remnant of a time when we had to use 2 primaries. It was especially good back then, but not anymore. Not anymore. Sunshot. The Sunshot is basically Solar Grav Lance. It's boring, but it's so effective. Or it's boring because it's so effective. It's probably the better way of putting that. So yeah, you know. Very, very, very strong hand cannon. Source Regime. It's just like Maida and Bad Juju. I love it, but man, it's not stand out in any way, shape, or form. It is literally just an auto rifle. So as much as I like it, well, it's an auto rifle with healing, I guess. It has some healing sometimes. But like, I guess it does also have spinning up, which is not bad. Just go brrr. But yeah. Sweet Business is funny. It's a funny gun. That's all I can really say about it. It is a funny weapon. But it doesn't really do much. Like at all. Taraba. Taraba is incredibly good for like 10 seconds at a time. And then it just goes back to being like, alright. So I think I have to put it in pretty good because of the average out, but yeah. I mean, yeah, for a solo weapon it's pretty good. I wish I had elemental affinity, but like, in terms of like an elemental perk, I mean. But it is really strong when you get its perk going. Like it can destroy with that going. But yeah, Telesto. We all know it. It's funny. It's really funny. But yeah. That's really all it has going for it. It's funny history of being a glitchy mess. But yeah, Chaperone. I don't like this. I occasionally see it in PvP. So yeah. I said I don't like it, but it's still one of the better slug shotguns. So it's got that going for it, at least in PvP. In PvE, it's a complete non-starter. Colony. No, Colony does nothing. It's so bad. Even though it got reworked, it's still ass. It's still really bad. The problem is it's an exotic heavy that doesn't know if it wants to do ad clear or boss damage. No, it wants to do ad clear, but it's not very good at it. So since you don't really want to be using an exotic heavy on ad clear unless you're using a machine gun. Huckleberry, it's kind of just the submachine gun version of Bad Juju. It's just Bad Juju as an SMG, which that comes with all the good and bad that entails, to be honest. So it kind of has to go in the same one as. Actually, Bad Juju is slightly better because it has range and super energy gain. But I don't think it's enough to separate their tiers. Jade Rabbit, I mean, I can't deny it has some use in PvP. Kind of like Chaperone, but yeah. Last Word. Yeah, Last Word also gets some use in PvP, mostly on controller, but it also gets occasional use in PvE on specifically Lucky Pants Hunters, but, you know, outside of those, you don't really see it. I think it goes mid because it has occasional use in more than one aspect of the game. Prospector, garbage. Complete shit right now. Queenbreaker, I do have some slight bias this because it's not bad. So I think it goes mid because the blinding effect is very strong. And it can do that for multiple enemies, but yeah, it's not the best. It's okay. Warcliffe Coil is very interesting. It used to be amazing, but it's kind of just whatever now. Thorn is actually really, really good. It can go on Necrotic Grip Warlock, or it's just pretty good in PvP as well. Yeah, no, it's honestly the fact that it can also now overflow mag is crazy. Like, yeah, no, it is really good. Thunderlord, it's okay, I guess. There's a lot of disdain for this weapon because it's the LFG's favorite, but yeah, it's not good. It's not the greatest for anything, but it's okay. It's okay. Not really an adequate weapon though, which is the problem with it, and it's a machine gun. Tractor cannon. Tractor cannon's weird because it is it's like Divinity and it is specifically a utility weapon. But that utility, like Divinity, is really good. So I think because of that, I think it has to go in Cooks as well. Like not Cooks, but Cooks. Yeah, like 30% debuff on your damage on the enemy. Well, 30% debuff on the enemy, so they take extra damage. Is really good. It's really good. Trinity Ghoul, it's pretty good. It's basically a Risk Runner, but easier to proc its Chain Lightning. Because you don't have to be in content where arc damage is being used against you. Right, it's a little bit power cut by the existence of Volt Shot weapons, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Truth, it's literally just a rocket launcher with 3 in the mag. And also better tracking. It really doesn't do much. Two-tailed Fox, Two-tailed Fox has the benefit of being very good against Overload champions because it jolts and suppresses. And hell, it can even hit Unstoppables because it can ignite with enough Scorch, but that takes a lot of rockets. But it's still meh. Not bad again, but it's whatever. Hey, Vigilance Wing, another PvP weapon specifically. Again, not terrible, but not great. Let's get some nice boosts though. Wave Splitter. Honestly, Wave Splitter. With the right setup, it's here. But general purpose, it's kind of just here. I'll put it in pretty good. It is. It's probably the best exotic trace rifle that you use to kill enemies. I'll say. I say that knowing I may be forgetting an exotic trace that is not Ruinous Effigy here, but we'll get to that later. Whisper of the Worm. I mean, hey, also pretty good. Great layman's DPS because of... Wow, I said that really weird. Great layman's DPS. Like Leviathans. It's really good, especially this season, but obviously taking into account another season, it's still pretty good. Because I can just shoot until you're out of ammo or the boss is dead. Yeah. Hey, Wish Ender. Kind of just better Arbalest in terms of barrier breaking. Not as good at general shield breaking, but this is a primary as well. So it does have that going for it. It also gives you a ton of super energy when you use it, like a ton. Warline Zero, power crept completely. It does like nothing. Xenophage, it's even lazier DPS than Sleeper, but it's all not Sleeper. Well, it's even laser DPS than like Sleeper and Whisper and Leviathan's Breath, but it is also notably worse DPS than them. But it's all around decent. It's never a bad thing to take in. Bastion, I'll admit, I don't have that much experience with. But I can definitely see it being really good on like melee-based builds, and you don't want to use a shotgun. But yeah, because of that, I'm not gonna commit to putting it any higher or lower, but because I don't really have that much experience with it. But yeah, Devil's Ruin. It's oh, I dropped it. Hold on. It's not bad in PvP. I always forget this thing has intrinsic unstoppable in PvE because I never use it in PvE. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good close quarters weapon in PvP because of the fact that it has the regular pistol and also has the laser you can just beam people down with, beam attack. Obviously it's a sidearm, so it does suffer from being a sidearm, but it's still generally decent. Symmetry. The Symmetry's biggest issue is that it's a scout rifle. Like, honestly, it could be really good if it wasn't a scout rifle. But scout rifles are mid, and it takes a while to get access to its, the good part of its exotic trait. To be fair, that good is still pretty good, but yeah, I think it's still the best scout rifle we've rated so far. Well, that's another thing about Grav Lance. Grav Lance is basically just a scout rifle with pulse rifle damage, which is crazy. Fourth Horseman. It's basically, Acreus, but faster. Very good in very specific situations, but otherwise not all around great. Tommy's matchbook is interesting because I know there are some builds that can make this crazy. I mean, hell, I have one. I have one of those builds, but for most, it's kind of mid at best, if not meh. I think it's somewhere up here on a completely personal bias level. But if I have to be objective, it's probably here. To be fair, double damage is never bad, but obviously you do have to injure yourself to get that. Well, there are ways to like play around that nowadays, but you know, it's still a risk. Still pretty good though, in my opinion. Heir Apparent. I remember when this was pain in PvP to fight. It sucked. Since then, it's just kind of meh. I will say this thing came in very handy once for me in a PvE situation, but I can't deny that it just happened to be good there. It wasn't good in the set, like, it was good for that very specific situation, but it wasn't a good, like, it's not a good overall weapon. It just happened to benefit me for the one situation, but otherwise it's not the best. Traveler's Chosen? Your one-size-fits-all build sidearm here for helping you get ability energy back if needed. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Witherhoard is decent. It's kind of been power crept by a legendary GL, but it's a very good just set and forget exotic if you don't really have any specific like loop going on with a build. It's just kind of a good grenade shot, and then just continue on with your day. Plus the fact that auto loads is good, but yeah, it's all around decent, but I wouldn't call it amazing or anything. Ruinous Effigy, it's funny. It's really, really funny. It's really, really funny. And it can suppress. Takes a little bit of work, but I can suppress. Same with the Void, same with Wave Splitter, funnily enough, but yeah, it does take a bit of work to do that. You need to get a kill and you need to dunk a ball on someone's head. Cloud Strike is decent. It has some use in PvE, but obviously I see a lot in PvP when it's fucking sniping me in the head. I hate the damn thing. But yeah, I mean, it's not inherently bad, but it's just kind of power crept at the moment by other snipers. But it has some use under certain situations, at least. So that going for it. Duality, the shotgun. I cannot get the hang of this weapon, but it seems like it's really good, but then I feel like I almost never see people using it because I'd rather use just a more reliable precision or slug. I think it kind of just, by virtue, kind of has to go in blech. Just because how rarely I see it. It feels like a weapon that should be good in PvP, as a non-factor in PvE, but then it just never gets used in PvP for whatever reason. Anyway, Eyes of Tomorrow. If you're not a Gambit player, it's pretty bad, but yeah, I think it goes in meh. It has potential uses an infinite ammo rocket launcher against ads, but again, then you're using an exotic rocket launcher against ads. So, you know. Yeah, no time to explain. Still very good in PvP, pretty good in PvE. It's not the best, but hey, you can always do some funny buddy builds. And it has stasis energy, oddly enough. Yeah, I think it goes in pretty good. Like, it's It's pretty reliable. It's not the best 340 RPM pulse, but we'll get there. Salvation's grip. Salvation's grip? Hold on. I think it's Salvation something. Man, the fact that I'm not remembering the name of it exactly is probably a bad sign. I think it is Salvation's grip. Yeah, Salvation's grip, yeah. I was right. Okay. I mean, again, there are places where it can be useful, but, yeah, it's not often useful. It can be very fun on a Shattered Eye build, which is where I have mine, but that's kind of it. Lament, it was good, and now it's not really good. Honestly, no, I think Salvations is better than Lament, which sounds wild, but yeah, like, they nerfed its damage, they nerfed its healing, so it's just kind of whatever. There are swords that do its job better now. So it's just like, why? Why would I bother? Hawkmoon. Okay, Hawkmoon is, not bad. Still very good in PvP, but that's because hand cannons are still just pretty good, are still just really good in PvP. And obviously, you know, I've never really seen it in PvE. So I think by virtue, kind of just has to go in decent for that. But it's still really good in PvP. Like, if I see people using it in PvP, I do have to respect it, because I don't want to get fucking one-tapped. Although that does lead to a very funny situation that happened once. When I was fighting someone with it, and I managed to fucking parry their one-tap bullet while they were on a 20+ kill streak. It was so funny. It was so funny. Anyway. Dead Man's Tale. It's just meh. Like, it's craftable, it has a lot of perk variation, but it's just, I don't know. It's very specific. Can be used in PvP, but then you're using a Scarif on PvP, and if you get rushed down, then ooh. I mean, I guess it's better than most at countering that because of its hipfire, but it's not the best. But yeah. Tikus. I mean, for the most part, it's decent. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. It's all around alright. A bit specific, and you do have to get used to its cadence, but other than that, it's not bad. It's never been bad. It's just a little something to get used to. Okay, Cryosthesia. No! This thing slaps in PvP. This thing is really good in PvP. I don't see it used that much in PvE. I have a build with it, and it's not bad. But I know most people are going to write it off for PvE. I think because of its PvP usage, well, I guess at least be up here. But I wouldn't say it's that bad in PvE. You get a guaranteed freeze on, like, you kill one enemy, you can freeze another, which can pretty much just chain into itself. So you pretty much have a looping, unstoppable shot. And it can even slow if you're lucky. But yeah, I think I think it goes here. I think it's actually pretty good. Which sounds wild to say out loud, but here we are. Vex Mythoclast. I miss when this thing was a 390 RPM. It was so good. It was so good. If it was still 390, it'd probably be up here, honestly. But I think as it stands, I am going to put it here. I do have builds with it. Fun enough, I have a build on each subclass with it. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's still pretty good overall. But yeah, Lorentz. I like never see anyone use this. Like, I think I saw one person using it recently, and it wasn't very good. So yeah, it can be okay, but it takes a lot of work to get that, or not much payoff. Aegers, yeah, Aegers is crazy. Even if you're not using a stasis build, the fact that you get one kill and it just kind of bursts and freezes nearby opponents. And again, that's without any synergy. You start adding a stasis synergy on top of that. Wow, this thing's insane. Aegir's is probably the best exotic trace in the game for general purpose play. It has its own ad clear. Yeah, Forerunner, I like it. I'm biased though. I do think it's, I mean, it's still pretty good in PvP. And hey, the grenade that it has can do crazy high damage in PvE. So I think I'll put it here. Yeah. Gallahorn is a crazy good weapon for team play. If you're by yourself, it kind of follows a lot. So I think because of that, I think I have to put it here. But yeah, like all of these are weapons that you can use on your own and still do like crazy, even without like a build accompanying it. These ones are like team play focused and amazing, or build specific and amazing. Dead Messenger. I mean, I guess it's a wave frame with 3 waves, so it's not that bad, but it doesn't really do that much. I mean, I guess it goes meh. Probably the best of our element-changing weapons so far, but I can't really say it's amazing. Oh, hey, the glaives. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I have very little experience with any of these glaives. So I think just by virtue of lacking experience, I'm going to put them in meh. No strong feelings. I mean, actually, no. I have decent experience with the Hunter one, but the other two I don't really. It can be kind of powerful in PvP if you can get that charge shot. Because it kind of just one-shots people with that if you do it right. You place that shot right and it just destroys. Grand Overture. I think it goes in decent by virtue of the category for decent, where 1 or 2 very specifically good encounters. If you need to do very rapid burst damage, it's great, but outside of that, it's not amazing. I think it's alright. Osteo used to be up here. Now it's literally worse than, it's just so much worse than Thorn. That in turned out, that poison cooldown fucking destroyed Osteo. It's crazy. That thing is so bad now. Like, it's so bad. It's not the worst, but just use Thorn. Like, genuinely just use Thorn. Oh hey, Parasite. Parasite is basically Grand Overture as a grenade launcher, to be honest. You build up stacks, you do very rapid, have very high burst damage, and then, yeah, that's kind of it. So it's very good in the same encounters as these. Or Fourth Horseman, if you do very rapid burst damage. Collective Obligation. I'm gonna be honest, with the right build, this thing is probably one of the best primaries in the game. This carried me through Final Shape Legendary. Like, Collective Obligation was insane for me on that. Outside of that, again, it's kind of just an alright Void Pulse, but the fact that it's so good with the right build. Like, Gravelance is better because it's just so much more general purpose. But when you've got Collective Obligation rolling, when you got that loop going, it's fucked up how good it is. It is beyond fucked up how good it is. Yeah, Heart Shadow, I mean, it's better than Lament, and you can go invisible, which is fun. And it can weaken, which is also fun. So yeah. Kind of alright. Yeah, let's call it mid. Trespasser. I feel like Trespasser would be really good in PvP. But I, like, never see it in PvP. I will say the fact that it can chain its super burst into itself in, like, PvP and PvE, but mostly PvE, is nice, but it's also just kind of meh. It's not bad, but it's whatever. Delicate Tomb. I mean, I guess on certain builds it's pretty good, but it's like Kind of like the fusion rifle equivalent of Cold Heart. Which is a great way of putting it. Quicksilver Storm. Used to be goated. Nowadays, I would put in... pretty good, 'cause it's still not that bad. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I wouldn't complain if I saw someone bringing it with them, but it's... They're definitely weapons that outclass it. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I'll probably put it here then. Just because there's a weapon coming up later that I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if it... Well, it goes above it, but I'm not sure where above it. Okay, Hierarchy of Needs. The Funny Bow. In certain situations, is real strong. However, nowadays, those situations aren't very, often. It's not quite to the level of, like, Collective Obligation, or, hell, even Wave Splitter. Because it's worse at general purpose play than Wave Splitter and Collective. But again, when you got that loop going, it's crazy. You can just chain like wells and shit. Wild. But it takes a lot to get that done. And it's not really worth it in most general activities. Revision 0, I mean, it's a relatively strong pulse rifle. It's basically the Vex Mythic class of pulse rifles with intrinsic anti-barrier. And it's pretty decent in PvP as well. It's pretty basic, but hey, it's not bad. You can charge up a high damage. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention about Vex Mythic class. It has that linear fusion shot that honestly just destroys certain enemies. Rev 0 kind of has that with its sniper shot as well. Mana Core, I haven't used Mana Core since it got buffed. I really want to use it, I just haven't. Beforehand, it was just kind of a 900 Void SMG with that requires you to take to the air. Since I can't give a fair judgment on it right now, I'm going to put it in mid. Normally I like Void SMGs, I just haven't really gotten around to using this that much. Deterministic Chaos. Before, if you asked me, it's probably down here. Nowadays, since I've actually used it in a build, it does cover bases that I need quite nicely. And it does have a... Honestly, it's probably better than Divinity at long-term weaken application for bosses. Obviously, Div has the cage, but yeah, Divinity is so much more ease of use. But yeah, I think this goes mid because it does have intrinsic anti-barrier now, and it can still weaken, which is nice. And it still has volatile. Final warning. It has its moments. I'm not the one to bring out those moments though, but it certainly has them. But yeah, like it could be good. But yeah. I'm not the one to make it good. Verglaw Curve. I mean, the fact that it can freeze on a shot, it's basically like, oh, this is gonna sound, I'm saying it again, this is just the bow version of Cryosthesia, but it can also set up ice walls, which is kind of impressive, but I do tend to value bows a bit less, just because I'm not really a bow person, plus it's just kind of meh overall, overall. Leviathan Breath is different because it has a massive, just chunk damage shot. The heavy bow. But yeah, I think Verglaw Curve is alright. Winter Bite. I'm gonna be honest. It's okay. I would probably just call it mid. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not terrible. Vex Caliber is something I really need to use more, or at least try out more. I don't know. I haven't gotten around to it, so I think. Honestly, if I put the other two glaives of my lack of experience in mid, I should put this also in mid. Or meh, I should say. Centrifuge is a 450 RPM auto that can blind people. I wouldn't call it bad. That's got pretty good stats for PvP as well, but having to like keep that static charge going by running around on a fucking like carpet is annoying, but It can definitely be okay in like the right build. But I think as it stands, I think as it stands, it just goes mid. Navigator, I got very recently. It's not bad. I just don't have that much experience with it. I think it'll go decent because it has a lot of team play bonuses as well. As long as like you can give woven mail, it can sever enemies, create a grapple point, etc. Like it's got good use, but I don't have that much experience with it. Ah, Wicked Implement, the only primary weapon to have chill clip. I mean, it allows you to freeze from range, get stasis shards from a range, maybe put in like a frost armor build, it could be decent, but it's, at the end of the day, it's still an exotic scout rifle. Like, my highest ranked exotic scout rifle is in mid. So that should tell you all you need to know about exotic scout rifles. Because let's see, I don't think I have any other scout rifles elsewhere. Nope. Oh, they're all below. X-Dearest. Very fun. With the right build, X-Dearest is incredibly fun. Outside of that, it's just whatever. But it is an incredibly fun weapon. I love my X-Dearest arc build where I just send out moths to everyone. Moth, 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 moth. Yippee! It's very fun. But yeah, as I said, it's not a world beater outside of that, though, is the thing. Tessellation, it's a fusion rifle with a demolitionist on it, which is pretty good. And it has a very, it has that high damage shot on grenade consumption. And it feeds into itself with the fact that it gets grenade energy back. And hey, there are ways to chain that high damage shot, so I think I'll go pretty good. Dragon's Breath is basically the solo equivalent to Gallarhorn. So, yeah. Obviously not as good in team play unless you're the only one using Dragon's Breath. But it's way better in solo since obviously you will be the only one using it. So yeah, I think we're gonna put that there. Wish Keeper. Another bow. We already know my opinion on the bows. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. I just don't really have that much experience with it. Suspending is good though. Suspending is still a good keyword. But yeah. Fun enough, I think the only bow below mid is Lemon. Let me see. Yeah, I think it is. I think Lemon is the only bow below mid. Oh no, it's the only one in mid. Is it? Oh no, I forgot Wish Ender's up there. Yeah, no, that's the only one that's mid. That kind of explains bows in a nutshell in PvE, to be honest. They're just mid. They're alright. Kvostov. Hey, remember when I said there's an odd rifle that's better than Quicksilver? Yeah, it's Kvostov. It is just general purpose very strong. Like, I wouldn't say it cooks, but it's still really good. Like, this ricochet shots is very good for, like, add damage and add clear and stuff. But yeah. Like, as I said, it's not the best. But it's not bad. Obviously, there are builds you can do to make it better, though. So that's good. Yeah. Red Death. Hey, fun enough, okay, I'm gonna put that here for a second, but... Yeah, I think Red Death can also... No, it cooks as well. Like, it's crazy. Especially with the right build. Especially with the right build. I have a build with this gun in which, unless I massively fuck up my positioning, I am pretty much unkillable when I get it rolling. It's crazy. Red Death is a key component in that since it heals on kill, which is so fucked up. And it's still decent in PvP too. This gun, the sword Ergo Sum. This is interesting because its worst rolls or whatever, its great rolls are great. It's kind of... I know I've said this a lot today, but this one is genuinely applicable because it has the same exotic trait. It is pretty much the Galahorn of swords. Plus, it has other non-Gallahorn uses too, or non-Wolfpack Worms uses. Like, you can use it to support your team, and then you can do your own one for good damage. It's great. And obviously, it has that Transcendent synergy too if you're on Prismatic. So yeah, it's really good. Still Hunt. This is probably gonna be the only yeah. Still Hunt is. I haven't used it since it got nerfed, but obviously, you know, having a Celestial Nighthawk shot on 6 precision hits or 12 orb pickups is wild. And when I said Izanagi's is good but got power crept, yeah, the Still Hunt is why. Still Hunt is still insane. And then there's Microcosm, which, I'm gonna be honest, is even lazier. Like, I said Xenophage is lazy DPS. This is just about as lazy, but it's better damage than Xenophage. So because of that, I think it goes up here and either pretty good, maybe even Kooks actually. But no, I don't think it's high enough DPS for that. Yeah, no, it's not high enough DPS for that. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be it then. Woohoo! Obviously, this is as of the final shape, so there are gonna be exotics in the future that come out. That will not be on this list. Not much I can do about that one. But yeah. I'm actually gonna pause music because I think that's gonna be it for that's gonna be it for this recording. I'll say that. So yeah, this is our tier list. Take it in. So yeah. That's it for the tier list of this recording. Goodbye, YouTube.